Right now, as you watch this, you are experiencing something profound that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. That uncomfortable feeling when you are about to say something that might make you look stupid. That urge to stay quiet in meetings, to play it safe, to blend in with the crowd. You feel it, don't you? That constant voice whispering. Don't be a fool. Yeah. But here is what will shatter everything you believe about intelligence, success, and wisdom. The very thing you are most afraid of becoming, a fool, is exactly what you need to embrace to unlock your greatest potential. You've been living in a world that has weaponized your fear of looking foolish. And the most terrifying part, the smartest people, the most successful innovators, the greatest leaders in history, they all had one thing in common. They were willing to be seen as fools. We're not talking about AI here. We're talking about something far more insidious. Your artificial intelligence. The fake, manufactured version of yourself that you present to the world every single day. The one that has been carefully crafted to never make mistakes, never ask stupid questions, never take risks that might result in failure or embarrassment. Think about your last team meeting. Remember that brilliant idea that flashed through your mind, the one you didn't share because you thought it might sound silly. That moment of self-censorship wasn't wisdom. It was fear masquerading as intelligence. Here is what is really happening in your brain during these moments. Your amygdala, the fear center, has been hijacked by societal programming that equates being perceived as foolish with social death. This programming runs so deep that most people would rather remain silent and maintain their image than risk being seen as naive or uninformed. But every revolutionary idea, every breakthrough innovation, every moment of genuine human connection began with someone willing to risk looking like a fool. Let me tell you about the most dangerous man in ancient Athens. He wasn't a warrior or a politician. He was a philosopher who did something that terrified the establishment. He admitted he didn't know anything. Socrates revolutionized human thinking, not by claiming to be the smartest person in the room, but by being the only one brave enough to say, "I know that I know nothing." This wasn't humility, it was weaponized foolishness. By embracing his ignorance, he exposed the false wisdom of everyone around him. The oracle at Delphi declared Socrates the wisest man alive. And do you know why? Because he was the only one who wasn't pretending to know more than he actually did. In a world full of people performing intelligence, authentic ignorance became revolutionary. Here is the devastating truth that will change everything. The pain you are trying so desperately to avoid, the pain of looking foolish, is the exact pain you need to embrace to become free. Right now, millions of professionals are trapped in what I call the corporate fool's errand, the exhausting performance of appearing competent, while secretly terrified of being exposed as inadequate. This isn't just about imposter syndrome, it is about the systematic suppression of natural human curiosity and risk-taking. In boardrooms across the world, the most innovative solutions remain unspoken because someone was afraid to sound naive. The questions that could revolutionize entire industries go unasked because someone didn't want to appear uninformed. The connections that could transform teams never get made because someone was too worried about their professional image. But here is what the data reveals. Companies led by executives who encourage foolish questions and reward intellectual risk, taking consistently outperform those that prioritize the appearance of expertise over genuine curiosity. The fool's willingness to ask, why, and what if, becomes the engine of innovation. Consider this. Every major technological breakthrough, from the internet to smartphones to artificial intelligence, began with someone asking a question that seemed foolish to the experts of their time. What if we could connect every computer in the world? What if we could fit a computer in everyone's pocket? What if machines could think? There is a concept in Zen Buddhism called Shoshin, beginner's mind. It is the opposite of what our culture teaches us to value. While we're busy accumulating credentials and expertise, beginner's mind suggests that true wisdom comes from approaching each situation with fresh eyes, as if encountering it for the first time. Here is why this matters for your life. Expertise can become a prison. The more you know about something, the more likely you are to see only what you expect to see. Your knowledge becomes a filter that screens out novel solutions and unexpected opportunities. The fool, operating from beginner's mind, sees possibilities that experts miss. While the expert explains why something won't work, the fool asks, "But what if it could?" This isn't ignorance. It is a different kind of intelligence, one that our achievement, obsessed culture, has systematically devalued. Think about the last time you learned something completely new. Remember that excitement, that sense of wonder, that willingness to make mistakes. That is your inner fool, the part of you that learns fastest because it is not trying to protect its reputation. There is an ancient story that reveals something profound about human psychology. A king suffers a wound that won't heal, and his entire kingdom becomes barren as a result. The prophecy says he can only be healed when an innocent fool arrives and asks the right question. This isn't just mythology, it is a perfect metaphor for what happens in your life. Your deepest wounds, your most embarrassing failures, your moments of greatest foolishness. These aren't obstacles to overcome. They're the source of your unique wisdom and strength. Every entrepreneur's greatest success story begins with a spectacular failure. Every artist's most moving work emerges from their deepest pain. Every leader's most inspiring moments come from their willingness to be vulnerable, to admit uncertainty, to ask for help. The wound that makes you feel most foolish is often the exact wound that, once embraced, becomes your superpower. But here is what most people do instead. They hide their wounds. They pretend their failures didn't happen. They construct elaborate personas designed to showcase only their successes while concealing their struggles. In doing so, they cut themselves off from the very experiences that could transform their lives. You've been taught that the safe path is the smart path. Get good grades, follow the rules, don't rock the boat, and you'll be rewarded with security and success. But here is the paradox that is destroying lives. In a rapidly changing world, playing it safe has become the riskiest strategy of all. The skills that got you here won't get you there. The strategies that worked in the past are becoming obsolete at an accelerating pace. The industries that seemed stable are being disrupted by people who are willing to look foolish by betting on seemingly impossible ideas. Meanwhile, you are spending your energy trying to maintain an image of competence in a world that is changing too fast for anyone to truly keep up. You are playing a game with rules that no longer apply, trying to win by standards that are becoming increasingly irrelevant. The fool understands something profound. In a world of rapid change, adaptability matters more than expertise. Curiosity matters more than credentials. The willingness to fail quickly and learn from mistakes matters more than the ability to avoid failure altogether. Let me share something that might change how you think about intelligence forever. There are two types of stupidity: authentic stupidity and performed intelligence. Authentic stupidity is the willingness to admit when you don't know something, to ask questions that might seem obvious, to explore ideas that might not work. Performed intelligence, on the other hand, is the exhausting act of pretending to know more than you do, of avoiding questions that might reveal your ignorance, of sticking to safe, conventional ideas that make you appear knowledgeable. Here is the twist. Authentic stupidity leads to genuine learning and breakthrough insights. Performed intelligence leads to stagnation and missed opportunities. The person who is willing to appear foolish by asking basic questions often discovers solutions that the experts miss entirely. This is why children often solve problems that stump adults. They haven't yet learned to be ashamed of not knowing things. They ask, why? Without worrying about appearing naive, they explore without fear of making mistakes. In their willingness to be foolish, They remain genuinely intelligent. Throughout history, there has been one person in every powerful court who had a unique privilege. The fool or jester was the only one allowed to tell the king the truth. Disguised as entertainment, wrapped in humor, the fool could say things that would get anyone else executed. This wasn't just historical curiosity, it reveals something crucial about human psychology and power dynamics. Truth-telling is often seen as foolish, especially when it challenges authority or conventional wisdom. The messenger who brings uncomfortable news is rarely welcomed, but in your life, you have the opportunity to be your own court jester. You can give yourself permission to speak truths that others are afraid to voice. You can ask questions that others are too worried about their reputation to ask. You can challenge assumptions that others accept without question. The fool's greatest power isn't in being right. It is in being willing to be wrong in service of finding the truth. In the ancient wisdom of tarot, the Fool card is numbered 0. Not 1, not 22, but 0. This isn't because the Fool is worthless, it is because 0 represents infinite potential. 0 is the void from which all creation emerges. It is the blank canvas on which any masterpiece can be painted. Your willingness to return to 0, to admit you don't know, to start over, to look foolish. This isn't a step backward, it is a step into possibility. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master was once a fool willing to learn. The fool's journey in tarot represents the path of individuation, of becoming fully yourself. It begins with the willingness to leap into the unknown, to trust that the net will appear, to risk everything for the chance at authentic transformation. But here is what stops most people from taking that leap. They're standing at the edge of their comfort zone, looking down at the abyss of uncertainty. And all they can see is the potential for failure. They've forgotten that on the other side of that leap lies everything they've ever wanted. Every revolutionary idea looks insane until it succeeds. The Wright brothers were mocked for believing humans could fly. Einstein was told his theories were too radical to be taken seriously. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company for ideas that seemed too far-fetched. Here is what separates innovators from everyone else. They're willing to endure the period when their ideas seem foolish. They understand that the distance between that is crazy and that is genius is often just time and persistence. But in our risk-averse culture, we've created systems that punish this kind of thinking. We reward safe, incremental improvements while marginalizing the bold, transformative ideas that could change everything. We've built institutions that prioritize the appearance of competence over the reality of innovation. The result: a world full of people with revolutionary ideas who are too afraid to share them. A generation of potential innovators who have been trained to value conformity over creativity, safety over breakthrough thinking. Here is something that will transform how you think about professional success. In a world where everyone is performing perfection, authenticity becomes a superpower. The leader who admits uncertainty, the professional who asks for help, the entrepreneur who shares their struggles. These people don't appear weak, they appear human. And in an increasingly automated world, being genuinely human is becoming the ultimate competitive advantage. Artificial intelligence can process information faster than you, but it can't be vulnerable. It can't admit uncertainty. It can't learn from failure in the deeply personal way that humans can. Your willingness to be foolish, to be vulnerable, to be authentically uncertain. This isn't a weakness to overcome. It is your unique human strength, the thing that no machine can replicate. So how do you practically embrace your inner fool without destroying your career or reputation? Here is your step-by-step transformation protocol. Phase 1. The permission slip. Start by giving yourself explicit permission to be wrong. Write it down. I give myself permission to ask stupid questions, to have bad ideas, and to learn from mistakes. This isn't just feel-good nonsense. It is rewiring your brain's threat detection system. Phase 2. The curiosity experiment for the next week. Ask one foolish question every day. In meetings, ask for clarification on things everyone seems to understand. In conversations, admit when you don't know something, track what happens. You'll be surprised how often these moments lead to breakthrough insights. Phase 3. The failure resume. Create a resume of your failures, mistakes, and moments of foolishness. For each item, identify what you learned and how it contributed to your growth. This practice transforms your relationship with failure from shame to gratitude. Phase 4. The beginner's challenge. Choose something you are an expert in and approach it with beginner's mind. What would you see if you were encountering this for the first time? What assumptions are you making? What questions would a complete novice ask? Phase 5. The truth. Telling practice. Start speaking uncomfortable truths, but do it with the wisdom of the court jester. Use humor, ask genuine questions, and focus on serving others rather than proving yourself right. The goal isn't to be confrontational, it is to be courageously honest. The ultimate goal isn't to become reckless or irresponsible. It is to integrate the wisdom of the fool with the discernment of the sage. This means being willing to appear foolish in service of truth, learning, and growth, while still maintaining good judgment about when and how to take risks. Think of it as developing what I call strategic foolishness, the ability to selectively embrace uncertainty, vulnerability, and beginner's mind, when these qualities serve your highest purpose. It is about being smart enough to know when being foolish is the wisest choice. This integration transforms how you show up in every area of your life. In relationships, you become more authentic and connected. In work, you become more innovative and adaptable. In personal growth, you become more open to transformation and learning. When you embrace your inner fool, you give others permission to do the same. Your willingness to be vulnerable creates space for others' authenticity. Your courage to ask stupid questions makes it safe for others to admit their confusion. Your authenticity becomes a beacon that helps others find their own way out of the prison of performed perfection. This isn't just personal development, it is cultural transformation. Every person who chooses authenticity over image, curiosity over expertise, growth over safety, is striking a blow against the systems that keep us all trapped in fear. Your willingness to be a fool isn't just about your own liberation. It is about giving others permission to be human. We end where we began, with a paradox that changes everything. The wisdom you seek isn't found in accumulating more knowledge, credentials, or expertise. It is found in the courage to admit what you don't know, to ask questions that might seem obvious, to take risks that might result in failure. The fool's journey isn't about becoming less intelligent. It is about becoming more genuinely intelligent by dropping the exhausting performance of artificial intelligence. It is about trading the prison of performed perfection for the freedom of authentic growth. Right now, as you finish watching this, you have a choice. You can return to the safety of your carefully constructed persona, or you can take the first step on the fool's journey. You can continue playing it safe, or you can embrace the terrifying, exhilarating, transformative power of being willing to look foolish in service of becoming who you are truly meant to be. The question isn't whether you are smart enough to avoid looking like a fool. The question is whether you are wise enough to embrace the fool within you. The fool's journey begins with a single step into the unknown. Are you brave enough to take it? Your future self, the one who is living authentically, creating boldly, and loving deeply, is waiting on the other side of your willingness to be foolish. The only question is, will you take the leap? The cliff's edge is calling. The fool within you is ready. The journey of a lifetime begins with the courage to look foolish for a moment. Welcome to the fool's journey. Your transformation starts now.